Welcome back, everyone. This is Frank, Whiskey Charlie Zero Oscar. What I want to talk to you about is Field Day 2024 and some of the things I'm doing to prepare so that I can do Field Day in the car, mobile. I haven't read completely all the new directions or rules, but what I wanted to do is just to tell you what I'm trying to do to prepare myself for that day, because I do remember the first time I tried to do Field Day in mobile, and it was a disaster. I did not prepare. I thought, well, I'll just put, a mag mount with an antenna, cut it up, and maybe I can listen to people, or maybe I can communicate with them. And it just didn't work out. And so every single year since then, I've been trying a little bit harder to make sure my equipment works properly and some of the things I need. And that's what this video is about. The first thing you'll need, of course, is the radio. And you can use almost any radio you want. Radios let me see if I have it here. Radios as small as this one, if you like. This is the VX6 tri-bander. And you can't use repeaters, but you might be able to communicate with people at a certain distance. VHF, UHF frequencies. And I will be doing that because it's a legitimate way to communicate. Do you need a fancy radio like this? No, you can get a Baofeng or some other radio that's less expensive to just start off the hobby. In previous years, I've used IC705 or an FT891 or an FT857D, and those radios are great, but the filtering capabilities, meaning if people are talking on the side of one or the other side of your frequency, they seem to interfere. And radios such as this one, the FT-DX10, these have nice filters that kind of keep you in track with people who are speaking within the frequency that you are. And that's exciting because the more contacts you have, the more points you get. But remember, Field Day is not really a contest. It's just taking out your radio during the summer and getting very close to the summer, and just having an opportunity to turn on your radio and just see if it works and how far you can, what type of communications you have and how far away you can talk, I guess, too. So the radio is really important. I'm going to do less than 100 watts or within 100 watts. But the FT-DX10 is a much bigger radio. It draws a lot more power. And so I'm over here in Bolsa Chica State Beach to check to see how much power it drains, because I forgot how much. I have a 30, this is a 20 amp hour battery. I think it gives me 2 hours if I'm just talking. And definitely I think it drains more than 3 amps. So in a gloomy day like this, having a solar panel is probably not going to hack it. Much sunnier day, it will. Here in Bolsa Chica, if I'm over there in Chino Hills, which is sunnier, then I'll have a chance to fill up my battery. Or if I'm in Paris, which is in Riverside, that I'm for sure there's not going to be so many clouds. The only problem is Chino Hills, they close at 7, and in Paris I think they close at 10, which is not bad. It would take me an hour and a half to get back home. Here it would still take me about an hour and 10. It might be gloomy all the time, and I'm going to need some batteries all day. Well, from 10 to 10, let's say 10 in the morning till 10 p.m. This might not hack it. Even though the beach does help me propagate a little bit better than if I was at Chino Hills. So location might be important because I want my solar panels to work. The radio is important because if you have a QRP radio, you're not going to get too much with that. That being said, it's possible you can get contacts. You see it all the time in people doing QRP. But here in Southern California, for whatever reason, we are a little bit far from the most of the activity, and that is back east. Most of my contacts will come from the north, from Oregon, from Washington State, maybe Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, maybe Montana, now that I'm hearing Montana more, and maybe even more south, like Texas. I remember before like 2 years ago, I was getting a lot of contacts in Texas and some in Oregon and Washington for 20 meters. For 40 meters here in Southern California, I can probably get California and maybe even nearby. So the FTDX10 does all the HF bands, and so I'll probably be doing those bands that I'm allowed to, right? And also UHF and VHF. The antenna. So I'm probably going to use my little Tar Heel screwdriver antenna. That will give me the different frequencies that I need for HF. I'm going to need a device to set those different frequencies so that I don't have to go outside and figure out how the height of the antenna. This particular radio, the FTDX10 and the FT 857D, they don't seem to resonate equally. So if I have the FTDX10, the FTDX10, and I'm using that with my little Tar Heel antenna, screwdriver antenna, and then I pop in my FT 857D, it won't resonate. It won't resonate because for whatever the different technologies in it, I'm imagining, for whatever reason, it just doesn't. So if you're going to use two radios, just be aware that it might not resonate on the same length or whatever it is that you're using as an antenna. You should already know the antennas that you're going to use the day of field day, and you should test your equipment a week before, not a day before, just in case you need to go and buy something. Some people take months or the whole year to prepare. For me, I've been preparing a little bit for the last 2-3 weeks. What else do you need? You're gonna need a computer probably. This one is a very inexpensive computer that I got at Micro Center here in Orange County. Super inexpensive, like $250, and it has a lot of things. Now, these type of sales don't come around. This one in particular, I think Lenovo wasn't selling well because it has this cloth thing. I don't like it, but and PCs are not my thing. It's been dropped a couple of times, but this has been a very nice computer for $250. I think it's very affordable. Can you do tablets? You can. I don't particularly like tablets because it's very hard to type, but some people like it. I like the keyboard, although this will run out of power within 10 hours, so I got to put it in this battery saver mode or else it won't last that long. I do have a Jackery, a small one, a very small one that does a pretty good job. That's the 300 amp hour one, and it's compact and small, and I'm really surprised that is a very nice compact battery generator. I did buy the 1,000-watt one that was on sale. I didn't like it because really it wasn't 1,000 watts. It's 1,000 watts at 24 volts. I tried to use it for my refrigerator, my DC refrigerator. It didn't last no more than 2 days. I have a 30-watt bioenno battery, that's enough to keep my refrigerator running for a day and a half. Why would I want a refrigerator? Well, because you might have cold drinks in there. You might be having your lunch. Save your lunch in there. It's really nice to have, and it's convenient to have food. That's another thing too. You don't need to bring food. Well, first of all, you don't need to do, for those who are beginning to do this, you don't need to start at 10 and then stay 24 hours at night and then stop the next day. I think it starts at 10. If it's not 10, it's 11. Check your documentation. But or it might start at 9, depending on where you are in the U.S., I guess. But the important thing is that you can just do it for one contact, just for fun, and then fill out the paperwork and electronically, and then you can definitely be part of field day. For me, 2 years ago, I did it for almost 10 hours, and I tried to do it the day after. I didn't do it overnight, and I got 100 plus contacts. I was number 6 in the contest, which to me, I was blown away, because I thought I'd be in the top 100 maybe. No, I was in the top 10, which I was totally happy with. And so with a little bit of effort, there's a lot of opportunity for you to do well. So laptop, right? Laptop is important because you want to use some software to enter the data. I'm using N3FJP. When I first wanted to do contests, I didn't think I needed software. I can write it out, or I can use something like Hammers, which you can. But the cool thing about N3FJP is that it will convert the file into Cabrillo or some special format so that you can put it on the ARL's website, and it's automatically. It does all the points for you. As long as you update it, it gives you all the points, and you can be looking at the points as you're doing it, which is pretty cool. The more different bands you do, the more multipliers you have. And of course, the other things that you do too, like, did you have any information on that day about ham radio, or there's like different sections. Did you run batteries? I think you still can get points because you're running on batteries only, and I am. I'm going to be running on separate batteries when I'm doing field day. Of course, shelter is important. I'm going to be doing mobile, so I want to be so sometimes you can't be under the shade, like under a tree. Like here in the beach, there are no trees, and even though there's a lot of clouds, the radiation can still hit you and you can still get burned. So a lot of the times what I'll do is I'll put a towel, a white towel, not a black one because that brings in heat, but a white towel, put some magnets on there, and it just keeps me from getting sun if I'm doing that. Being hydrated is very important. Now that I'm a bit older, I need to go to the restroom, so the restroom is nearby. That's something that I keep in mind. And it's always good to go to the place that you're going to go the day in field day, so that that you have a restroom, or if it's open, and how much it's going to cost you. Do you have the right equipment and shade and so forth? Maybe you need a table or a chair, and then backup equipment. I live about, an hour and 10 minutes or so, maybe a little more from here, from Bolsa Chica. So, if my radio goes down, do I have a backup? Yes, I'm going to be using the FTDX10. By the way, the price on this thing has gone down even more. Nicey 7300, beautiful machine. I learned a lot from that. The screen is beautiful. But an FTDX10 is just a next step in hearing people. But anyway, if my FT-DX10 goes down, I have my FT-857D ready. And if that goes down, well, I guess I can use my FT-818, which I'm not going to go anywhere. But I do have an amplifier. Another thing too, we just talked about it, batteries, right? If you don't have enough battery juice for the whole day, then what are you going to do? You can't plug it into the wall because that would be a different classification. So that's important. Talked about the Jackardy. Not only is the Jackardy is really nice to have and compact, but you can plug it in. You can plug this to the Jackardy. You can plug in your phone. Like my phone is going to be giving me the wireless internet that I need to run whatever it is that I need to run on my laptop for being online. Sometimes if I'm not doing, let's say, field day, I might do some POTA activation just to, do something else. I could do that. I also have a backup for my laptop. I have a small little tablet that if for whatever reason this goes down, I got my tablet. I can utilize my tablet. Other little tools that you might want to have is an antenna analyzer. That's a very good tool to have, especially if you have multiple antennas, multiple radios. You want to know exactly where that where is it resonating. And I'm just thinking right now, just thinking why my two radios wouldn't be able to utilize the same antenna. I don't know. Kind of weird, isn't it? Or maybe it was just or maybe it's just some type of fluke. I'm thinking of why would I have to change my antenna, my screwdriver antenna for these radios. Tuner. A tuner is might be important. I never liked tuners. If you look at a lot of my videos, I don't like tuners. I like things that resonate at that point. The FT-DX10 does have a tuner. Utilize it because I think it's going to be helpful. As for the FT-DX10, FT-857D doesn't have a tuner. You might need an external tuner, maybe, if you just can't seem to resonate the antenna right. That's why you need to do it before you go, before you do field day. If you have a I think now I remember why. Sorry, it was it's not so much the radio, but I was using a magnetic mount. Okay, you're like, so utilizing a magnetic mount or using the mount of the car, they resonate differently, and which makes sense. Okay, sometimes the radios are a little bit fickle, but now that I'm realizing it's that. So if you have you might want to have a tuner. You don't need one, especially if you've already been to the place and you kind of know how the radio will respond. You might need a backup. For example, let's say for whatever reason, I don't know. Let's say my magnetic mount's not working or the situation changes. I do have a mast, and then I do have a quarter wave ground plane antenna that I built. I can use that. I know that works, and that resonates very nicely at 20 meters. If you're going to do 40 meters in the other bands, just be ready to figure out where the resonating point for those antennas are. Other things to consider, we talked about hydration, being comfortable, making sure you have a chair, if you have a ice chest, get some ice, get some food, get some chips. If you have someone else go with you, that's even awesome. You're gonna need some filters, I think, to make sure that you don't interfere from one band to another. Another thing too, because I'm mobile, the Friday before, I love to go to get to see the other groups, the ham groups. The LA club, I like to go see and say hi. The Korean club, and then the Claremont group. They're all over the place, but sometimes on that Friday, I like to go see them. I like to say hi. I want to see what type of antennas they're doing. Maybe they can give me some ideas as well. And being part of those groups, can help you improve your skills, your skill set. I guess other little things to consider is a watt meter or one of these digital meters that show how much current you're drawing from the radio, just to get a sense on average how much power you're drawing, and seeing if you're capable of replenishing that. The situations in the different radios, like the FT-DX10, will draw a lot more power, and you just got to be ready. Compared to an FT 857D, I know a 12 amp hour battery will easily last me 3 hours or more. If I have the sun, it'll probably last me easily 8 hours or something, and then I can just have another battery. I'm gonna have at least 3 to 4 batteries, and just have them ready. When you do the contest, you might get frustrated. I know I do, because it's just, the band just gets completely covered, and you're really trying to listen to what your other connection is, right? Your contact. So having headphones is probably going to be important. I definitely recommend headphones, even if you do POTA activations, because you can sometimes will hear that soft contact. Don't be anxious. Have a lot of fun. The first time I think I did it, I barely got 20 contacts. The first time I did, I didn't get no contacts, maybe 1 or 2, and the second time 20 or something. And you just find your way. If it's mobile, it's mobile. If it's in the field, it's in the field. If it's in the house, it's in the house. You do whatever it is that you like. So definitely, if you don't have a computer, have one of those nice little tablet and then do it in a piece of paper. Have a pencil, probably a pen. Most likely is a better thing. And just have a good time, I guess. I'm trying to think of anything else, like a hat, a chair, right? We saw the ice chest, just first aid things. First aid is always important to have, and anything that you need for backup. And if you're close by to your house, you don't have to worry so much. But the farther you are, the more likely you might forget something. So having a checklist might be important. People say that all the time. I say that, I'm going to have a checklist. But sometimes we don't do it, and then you forget something. Like the power cord, right? Or you forget the batteries. You probably won't. But the power cord, I've forgotten the power cord and stuff, power cord and stuff like that. Or the computer being charged, right? Or the batteries being charged. You want to make sure your batteries are charged. You want to make sure your laptop is charged. And you want to make sure that the car is ready to go. Because the moment it starts, it's pretty slow. Very slow, keeps going. And there's going to be periods of time where you're like, I'm not getting anybody. Well, especially if you live in LA, it's going to be definitely slow. And also, a few other things, when you communicate, just make sure you know what to say. I forget what I have to say. I have to say something like LAX and something else. I don't remember. But I need to know what area I'm in, because this way, the other person can also put that. There's a CT for Connecticut, KY for Kentucky, but like Washington State, I know they have different. There's different letters. South Texas, STX, or West Texas, right? LAX, Oregon, Santa Barbara, I guess, SB, SV, I don't know. SF, San Francisco area, right? TN for Tennessee and so forth. You're gonna have to listen. That's another thing too. Your phonetics, right? Understanding the wording. If you're not ready yet, you're not ready yet, but you can still talk to someone and know your call sign. So you might need a sheet with a key, right? F is for Foxtrot, R is for Romeo, and so forth, right? And just have that ready. Don't be timid. Don't have anxiety. Try it out. See if you like it. HF is definitely has a lot of fun. All right. So I hope that's a few things that can help you in doing field day for mobile. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope to hear you on the air. This is Frank Whiskey Charlie 0 Oscar. Bye-bye.